Living 1948. Living 1948. Brought to you each week at this time by NBC and its affiliates in order to mirror more effectively the choice of leadership which faces us, Americans, in this election year, has made free time available for a limited series of programs to the declared candidates for the presidential nomination. Today, Governor Earl Warren of California, candidate for the Republican nomination. And here is the regular narrator for Living 1948, Ben Grauer.
Thanks, Bob Warren. Before presenting our speaker for today, suppose you and I supply our listeners with some vital statistics. Earl Warren, born Bakersfield, California, March 19, 1891. Present age, 57.
Education.
Bakersfield Public Schools and University of California, from which he was graduated in 1912.
And whose School of Jurisprudence, 2 years later, awarded him his degree in law. Private practice was interrupted by World War I.
Entering the Army as a private in 1917, Earl Warren emerged from the ranks as a first lieutenant.
The Warren family.
He was married in 1925 to Nina Palmquist Myers. They have 3 sons and 3 daughters.
Public service.
Deputy City Attorney of Oakland in 1919 and Deputy District Attorney of Alameda County in 1920.
And District Attorney of the same county from 1925 to 1938.
In recognition of his service on behalf of law enforcement, he has been both President and Secretary of the District Attorneys Association of California.
And was once awarded the Medal of the U.S. Flag Association for outstanding work in the field of law enforcement. In politics, Republican State Chairman, 1934 to 36.
Republican National Committeeman, 1936 to 38.
Elected Attorney General of California, 1938. Served on many state bodies.
Concerned with civilian protection and the law.
And was both Vice President and President of the National Association of Attorneys General.
Elected Governor of California, November 3rd, 1942.
As California's war leader, Governor Warren sought to mobilize the citizens of his state to make the most effective military and civilian contribution to victory.
His followers credit him with streamlining the state government in the fields of correction, public health, mental hygiene, industrial relations, highways, natural resources, and administrative procedure.
He is a member of the Executive Committee of the Council of State Governments and of the Conference of Governors. He was temporary chairman of the Republican National Convention in 1944 and delivered the keynote address at that convention.
In the primaries of 1946, he became first governor of California to win both the Republican and Democratic nominations.
We take you now to Sacramento, California, and to Governor Earl Warren.
Fellow Americans, as the national conventions approach, campaigns for the presidential nomination become more intense. The debate quickens. Personal differences make up the political headlines. These things are the fireworks of democracy in a presidential year, but they are not the essence of the democratic process. A statement of party principles, reduced to understandable programs at the conventions, is even more important today than candidates. The greatest contribution of the candidates in these final weeks can be made not by particularizing on minor differences, but by building up party unity upon great objectives important to the people of America. Leaders of the Republican Party must preserve unity of thought and action. Such unity is vital to the national welfare today, because there is no hope of it in the Democratic Party. That party is torn asunder by sectional, racial, and ideological dissension. It is incapable of presenting a united leadership for the solution of the critical problems that have overwhelmed the national administration. It is not necessary to fix the blame for this. We must, however, face the fact. It is all the more important, therefore, that the Republican Party avoid losing its strength and usefulness in division over personalities, detail, and sectionalism. We must not permit the Republican Party to advocate one thing in one part of the country and something else in another. Party membership should represent the same fundamental beliefs that can be brought to bear upon any national problem, foreign or domestic. I believe that the leaders of the Republican Party are in such fundamental agreement, and that if impersonal efforts are made to do so, we can unite on great objectives. Republican leaders must remain closely allied and cooperative in their approach to the problems of the day, so willing to sacrifice personal pride and position for the national welfare that the Republican Party will be able to write in clear, unmistakable terms a program worthy of the confidence, not merely the momentary fancy, of the American people. Every part of that program should be written not in vote-catching phrases, but as a frank explanation of our approach to every issue. Because the Republican Party has not been in power for 16 years, the public does not know exactly what it would do if returned to power. But the people want to know, they have a right to know, and we must let them know with candor and without equivocation. I am sure the American people want to know whether the Republican Party has grown with the years, whether it has learned from the world-shaking events of recent years. Does it propose to turn the clock of government back to pre-war time, or does it propose to face the problems of this day in the light of changed and need for a higher concept of our government's duty to its people and to the world? Does the Republican Party nourish any secret longing to return to isolationism, or does it intend to dedicate itself wholeheartedly to the great strategy for world cooperation and lasting peace? The American people would like to know, I am sure, whether the Republican Party fully realizes the tragic suffering wrought by the last worldwide depression. They want to know whether we are alive to the dangers of a new boom and bust era. They want to know if the Republican Party is a forward-looking, progressive party, a party of the people as distinguished from a party of reaction, pressure groups, and special interests. For my own part, I am confident that the leaders of our party want it to be liberal in the finest sense of the word, the servant of all the people. I am therefore certain that if we define our position properly, the American people will acclaim the result, and whoever the choice of our convention may be, will rally to him and to the program for which he stands. The times in which we are living demand this kind of political leadership. It would be a national tragedy if for any reason our party should fail to produce it. We are living today in a state of suspended existence. We are not engaged in a shooting war, neither are we at peace. We gloss over the situation by saying that we are in a cold war. But that cold war at times becomes very hot and is always dangerous. It is 3 years since Germany surrendered, almost that long It is likewise 3 years since we formed the United Nations with its concept of one world. Yet today, real peace seems farther away than at that time. There is a worldwide sense of frustration because the peace for which men fought and died has not been achieved. Actually, more of our time, energy, and money is of necessity being devoted to preparation for war than to the cause of peace. Our domestic and international affairs are abnormal to the point of real danger. We are living in an artificial economy, one that is based on transient programs that are keeping employment high while the purchasing power of the American dollar is diminishing. This abnormal situation will continue unless our full production can increasingly be turned to peacetime goods and services for our own people and into the channels of normal world trade. Temporarily, we are pouring out our factory goods and farm products by the billions to the stricken peoples of the world, and rightly so. But we are making little post-war progress toward better housing, health, education, security, or conservation of our own natural resources. It is the phenomena of our age that as we pour out billions for world recovery to both friends and foes of the late war, we find ourselves quibbling over programs essential for improved living conditions in our own country. It is about time for us to realize that the better world which we are trying to create for mankind depends very largely upon the strength of the United States, which strength, in turn, depends upon the opportunities we afford our own people to achieve a good life. So long as there are states or parts of states where impoverished schools deny a basic education to the children living there, so long as a large percentage of our hard-working, self-respecting Americans cannot afford medical care, so long as a large percentage of our housing is substandard or in slum condition, so long as workmen with years of life ahead of them are cast off without the benefit of a broadened Social Security program, so long as our natural resources are being inexcusably wasted, just so long will America lack the strength to raise living standards here at home and fulfill at the same time the world obligations which we have assumed in recent years. I believe the Republican Party at the coming convention can reduce to writing, and what is more important, translate into action, a simple program which will enable our country to fulfill its commitments abroad and still produce enough to ensure a more comfortable life for all our people. I believe we can do this without governmental handouts, without regimentation of our people, without the introduction of any strange or foreign ideologies, but strictly within the letter and spirit of the Constitution of the United States and its inspiring preamble, which reads, "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do establish this Constitution of the United States of America."